Welcome back. Tonight we're focusing on matters COVID-19 in relation to tobacco intake. Studies have shown that people who take tobacco or cigarettes are at risk of getting COVID-19 due to the emerging issues that come with tobacco intake. We're having Mr. Joel Gitali, who is the chair of the Kenya Control Tobacco Alliance. Welcome, Mr. Gitali.
Thank you, Irene.
All right. First of all, let us focus on what other nations are doing in terms of controlling tobacco intake, since it has been, studies have shown that people who take tobacco or cigarettes are at risk of getting COVID-19. We are having countries like South Africa and India ban tobacco intake in their country to curb the spread of COVID-19. Is that the step that Kenya should take, or are we seeing the government sort of take a side step when it comes to this?
Yes, surely. These countries, India, South Africa, and others, are countries that are very responsive. They are listening to what's happening, and they've taken in serious what the experts say. WHO has actually told us clearly that those people who smoke are likely to be infected by the virus more than those who are not smokers, and that this is because of a number of things. One, for example, most smokers normally share whatever they are smoking, and therefore you find they are passing it to each other. Then, like in this country, their cigarettes are sold in single sticks. Those who handle money also handle cigarettes. So money could be having the virus when you touch it, and then you are touching the cigarette, and they normally touch that area that is put in the mouth. And then the infection can pass over from the seller to the buyer, and even from the buyer themselves, because they also handle the same cigarettes with the same hands they used to handle money, to touch things and all that. So that is a very, very serious thing. And apart from that, those who are smoking, in case they are infected, they're already weak. Their immune system is compromised. And viruses are fought by the immunity of the body. The immune system is the key thing. So if the immune system of the body is already compromised because nicotine works on the body in a very bad way and makes it weak, then you find such people, in case they have some conditions like they are diabetic, they are asthmatic, or any of those conditions are hypertensive, then the situation gets worse when they smoke, and it even gets now, it goes to a worst now when they are infected by the coronavirus disease. So this is why we are saying those who smoke, in case they are infected, are more likely to die than those who don't smoke, who might fight off the virus and then recover. So those countries that know this and have taken it seriously are actually safeguarding the health of the public. But in Kenya, you see, in Kenya it is the reverse, whereby the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade has listed tobacco and alcohol as essential products at this particular time. And that's why even BAT during their AGM really appreciated, they praised the government for helping them to remain afloat when things were tough. And they even wrote, they even tweeted that they have been able to remain open, to remain afloat because of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers and the government support. So you see, that means that while here the government is very insensitive, it is not responding to the situation the way it is. It is sort of engaging in a double speak, that is taking measures to protect the people and yet taking measures to endanger the people. Yes. In South Africa, India, and such countries, measures are being taken that are practical enough so as to ensure that public health is safeguarded.
All right. Do you think, as the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance, being the chair, do you think it's about time the country gives measures to quit the tobacco intake? Because it's not about COVID-19 only. We have diseases like cancer, respiratory diseases. This means that tobacco is more of a liability than an asset to the nation. Is it about time the government makes the decision that the Kenyans should quit the use of tobacco?
Yes, this is the time actually. There has never been a better time because now, we lose up to 9,000 people every year to tobacco. And if you visit a place like Kenyatta National Hospital, you'll see so many cases of people who are suffering because of tobacco. Those who are undergoing amputations and so many cancer cases, and this is the lead risk factor. So it is time actually the government looked at this and made a decision once and for all. Because I'm sure a country like South Africa that has suspended tobacco and alcohol at this particular time is even just testing the waters to see whether it is possible to do away with tobacco. And I'm sure if we do the same here, time will come when we shall say enough is enough to tobacco. But you see now, BAT is having a very good time here, and there is even starting another factory to produce smokeless tobacco products, what they call the oral nicotine products that people are really in need of, like the nicotine pouches.
Yeah.
This is because the tobacco industry has found Kenya very favorable, has found a government that is very ready to let its people die from tobacco effects, compared to other countries that are now taking measures to ensure that tobacco is totally something of the past. So we can also start working on this. It might not be just within a day, but we can start taking measures leading to that, so that in a few years to come, we can be saying there used to be something called tobacco, so that there is no tobacco in this country. It is not helping us. It is undermining our health. It is undermining even the big far agenda of the president. Like the areas that have got tobacco don't have food security. And that is something that is retrogressive, is something that is against the development. When you look at the universal health coverage, we cannot realize it so long as tobacco is still ruling the country. And we have a lot of problems, even environmental problems, because of tobacco. So if we can get rid of this monster, if we can get rid of tobacco from our country, I want to tell you and to assure you that we will realize a lot of development.
All right. As Ketca, have you seen the people in the tobacco industry, the BAT and the likes, come up to support the country in terms of COVID-19 response? Have they supported the Ministry of Health through giving donations to help in the buying of the PPEs? Have they taken the forefront in helping the government to deal with COVID-19?
Yeah, let me put this clear to all of us that we have the Tobacco Control Act and the Tobacco Control Regulations of 2007 and 2014 respectively. And this is the law. The law forbids, it prohibits the government from receiving any donations from tobacco industry. We are not supposed to receive anything from tobacco companies that is supposed to help here or there. What we are supposed to receive legally from the tobacco companies is what we call the solitium compensatory contribution. This is money, 2% of the value of the tobacco products that are produced in the country, and the money is supposed to go into tobacco control fund so as to help mitigate the effects of tobacco. But all these other things like the tobacco companies advertising or engaging in promotion or in what we call sponsorship, things to do with the sponsoring educational activities, cultural activities, or even trying to come up with ways of helping when there is a problem here and there, is not supposed to do that. Right. So the government is not supposed to accept any donations from tobacco companies. It is illegal. But here, the government has already done it. BAT has contributed more than 10 million to the rapid response to COVID. And this is actually something that we are saying no to, because this fund, the rapid response to the COVID fund, is not supposed to receive funds from tobacco companies, because these are companies that are making the situation worse. When they give this money to the government relaxes its grip on the regulations, and therefore the tobacco companies continue now doing what they want to do. They continue selling this product that is killing 90,000 Kenyans every year, a figure that even COVID-19 will not reach. So we are not going to allow a company that is working hand in hand with COVID-19 to pretend that it is helping us to fight COVID-19. Because if tobacco products make the situation worse, now why should they not just make a contribution by stopping to manufacture tobacco products so that the situation is not worse? Why manufacture these products, feel so good that they are making profit, and then come telling us that they are contributing towards elevation of the problems that are being caused by this disease? They cannot pretend that they are helping us when they are helping the disease to finish us.
All right. Mr. Gitali, you have said that tobacco kills 9,000 people in 1 year. Is it correct to say that the intake of tobacco is a pandemic in itself that we have somewhat become blind to? Are we now not taking the step in curbing some of the things that are costing the youth and are costing a whole generation in itself?
You are very right. That's what, in fact, when we fight, we are saying we want to save a generation, because this is actually the target. And the tobacco industry has come up with even new ways of ensuring that it kills all the youth in this world. And that is to say that already we have got 9,000 people like in Kenya. If you go to a country like Nigeria, you'll find them talking about almost 40. You go to a country like the US, they are talking about more than 500,000. And the entire world where tobacco is used, you will find is actually killing many people to the tune of 9 million globally. So this is already a very serious pandemic. In fact, it's now killing more than what even the COVID-19 will ever do, because I know that there is research is on, and by the time we reach maybe 2 million or whatever, we shall have found something actually to tame the COVID-19. So let's not be cheated that tobacco industry is better than COVID-19. It is worse. We have a bigger monster than COVID-19, and we should not think that we are now fighting the worst that has ever been there. The only thing is that tobacco industry disguises itself. It uses all the tricks it can, and it's now moving into the developing world, because where it has been really rooted in the developed world, people are now fighting it. There are stronger regulations and all that. Now it's moving into this country. For example, in the US, the flavored tobacco products are finding it very hard. And the new products that are coming on board, the smokeless tobacco, the e-cigarettes and all that, they are being really fought outside there. But they are really being impressed in Kenya. So we are pushing our youth into it. And as those countries outside, they are trying to solve the problem, we are now magnifying the problem. So if we come together as the world and we say we want to save our youth, because we have got so many good flavors, people are attracted to them, vanilla and others that you can know, you can think of, the strawberry, and therefore they attract even children. You find children as young as 10 going for these things because of the flavors. And once they are addicted, then stopping is very difficult, you know? And this means they are going to die younger, because tobacco kills at least 50% of its long-time users when they use it according to how it is prescribed. So we are going to actually lose our youth. People are going to die in numbers unless we take actions. And that's why we are saying that any country that cares must take measures that are going to ensure that tobacco control is taken very seriously, such that tobacco becomes something of the past on the planet Earth.
All right, talking about measures, have we seen the Kenya government do enough in terms of raising taxes so that we can curb this, the intake of tobacco, especially among the youth?
The government in the past, the KRA was doing very well because we have had very good working relations with the KRA. In fact, some officers of the KRA, especially there is one that has been even going out there to talk in high-ranking meetings, including that one, what we call the Conference of Parties of WHO, that addresses things to do with the tobacco and all that. So we have had this kind of thing going on. The government was doing well until it reached such a time when the Treasury sort of seemed not to consult the KRA before taking decisions. And even at one time, we saw prices of tobacco products coming down. We appealed to the president and he did not assent to that. But we are saying that we have stopped somewhere. WHO recommends up to 70%, but then we are not yet there. We are not yet even at 50%. Right. So we are praying that we continue levying higher and higher taxes so that cigarettes become more and more expensive. And we get this money to use to mitigate those effects caused by tobacco. And at the same time, we make we lower demand, because this is a demand reduction measure that we must put in place, that we must adhere to. And it is one of the objectives of tobacco control in our country. When you look at the FCTC, you look at the Tobacco Control Act, these are some of the measures that must be taken very seriously. So the government is not yet there. And we are saying we need taxes on cigarettes and tobacco products to keep going higher and higher.
There has been the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco, which somewhat includes the COVID-19 response plan. A lot of countries, especially in the developed world, have embraced that particular convention. Here in Kenya, have we seen steps, even little steps, in terms of adhering to what the World Health Organization framework is all about in matters relating to tobacco?
In matters relating to tobacco, in some ways we have done it, but in a larger way we have not. That's why we are saying that, when the FCTC was enacted, and Kenya was one of the very first countries. In fact, in Africa, it was the first country actually to sign and ratify FCTC. And it was even very instrumental in the development of the same document. And therefore, we keep applauding those who are there, the cabinet secretaries, the then ministers, and even that one of foreign affairs and all that. Things were working very well together with the media and the civil society organizations, and even some serious members of parliament. So we came in and we were doing quite a lot. In fact, even recently, WHO ranked Kenya very highly among countries that were doing well in tobacco control, largely because of the activities of the CSOs led by the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance and the Minister of Health, especially that the Tobacco Control Division, which that time it was Tobacco Control Desk, but it's now a division. It has got a very dedicated staff who have done wonders. And then the Kenya Tobacco Control Board has done quite a lot. This is the board that has really worked in Kenya on tobacco control, right, regardless of being denied resources. These people have done well. So Kenya has done well, especially when it comes to public education, when it comes to putting this information in the school syllabus, and even issues to do with this smoke-free public places, we have done well. There are many areas that we have done very well, and that collaboration between the Ministry of Health and the civil society organizations has been at its best compared to other areas in the world. But there are major things that have not happened, especially those areas that require funds, and the government has never allocated the funds towards tobacco control in the country. The Tobacco Control Act has not been fully implemented, and you know it is the domesticated FCTC. So to that extent, we are saying the FCTC, to which Kenya is a party, has not been fully implemented in Kenya. Farmers have been neglected. Instead, you hear the industry talking very well that the tobacco companies like BAT thanking the government for support. And yet the document says the government should support farmers, not to support the companies. But you see here, companies are saying they have been supported, farmers are crying. So you see the reverse. Then we have got this thing of the Tobacco Control Board meeting members of the public at least once every year and giving a report and listening to the public. Yeah. It is not being done at all because there is no money. But then you find the government instead going into activities with tobacco industry. So what we are saying is that the government must implement the Tobacco Control Act so that cigarettes are not sold to minors the way we are seeing them sold to minors. Yeah. They are not sold in single sticks the way they are being sold in single sticks. Farmers who want to quit tobacco farming are supposed to be aided to do so, among other things that are not being done. So the government has done partially well when it comes to this, but then the major part has not been done. Tobacco Control Fund is supposed to have been there immediately after the Tobacco Control Act was passed, and it is part of the WHO FCTC, but it is not there to date. So you wonder, when tobacco companies are supposed to contribute 2% to that fund, where is the money going if in case it is being contributed? And if it is not being contributed because the fund is not there, then the government is culpable. It means they are colluding with tobacco companies so as to deny people the services they could be getting had the fund been operative. So they are supposed to operationalize the fund, have these resources so that the public can receive the services required.
All right. Mr. Joel Gitali, as we wind up, tell us what are your parting shot as the chair of the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance in what you're doing during this time of COVID-19 and what you want the government to do moving forward.
Yeah, I would like to say that each one of us is supposed to take part in ensuring that we take care of our health. As it is, we have always been saying that it begins with you. Each person must look unto themselves and be their own keepers. Then you extend this to being their brother's keeper. And therefore, we should ensure that the tobacco control laws are fully implemented. And this means that the CSOs should do their part, the government should do its part, and that the taxpayers are supposed to get what they are paying taxes for. Because you have these officers in office being paid by the public to deliver services. The government should not break the law by aiding tobacco companies. Instead, the government should put aside resources to help the farmers and to help the general public to be educated, farmers to quit and engage in economically viable alternatives so that the country is actually enjoying food security and good health. And I would like to say that we have these emerging products that are on the market. The tobacco companies have come up with alternatives because they know that when people are taught, then they quit smoking. Then that means they lose. When people stop smoking cigarettes and shisha, tobacco companies lose that money. So they have come up with the products that they are telling people they are safer and better, so people don't quit. Instead, they shift to these other products so as to make them continue getting this money. People should quit these products. They should know that these products are dangerous. The e-cigarettes, electronic cigarettes that look so nice and attractive. We have got these smokeless cigarettes, the the so-called nicotine pouches and the patches, anything to do with the nicotine, that means that thing is addictive. When you go into it, the moment you lack money, you'll go into the nearest and the cheapest source of nicotine, and that will be tobacco. So people should stop these things. Let us fight them, and the government should regulate these products because they are now being sold even in shops, over the counter, and they are cheating people that they help people to stop smoking, those who are smoking, but they are sold to everybody, and they are really flavored, so young people are going into them. Let us be very vigilant, each one of us, and resist what is happening between tobacco companies and the government that is going to lure our children into addiction, and therefore we lose them with time. We must take care of our country, take care of each other, take care of our children.
All right, Mr. Gitali, thank you so much for making time and giving us a perspective when it comes to tobacco intake in relation to COVID-19 and also other diseases that have been a scourge in this country.
Welcome. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
All right. That has been Mr. Joel Gitali, who is the chair of the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance, talking about the intake of tobacco in terms of COVID-19. The message being tobacco intake is a pandemic in itself, and the progress starts with you. It's always about self-responsibility. We are taking a short break, but we'll be back in a moment with more. Stay tuned.